All right, I think we're going to get it kicked off. Thanks for coming out. For those of you that are new here, my name is Jake Byler. I've been a part of this group for a good number of years. Been hosting it for about the last 5-6 years, and I have gotten so much value getting around great people like yourselves, business owners, investors, aspiring business owners, investors, entrepreneurs, what have you. There's just something magical that happens in a room when you get together with growth-oriented people. I've often said this, and I'll continue to say it. If I could point back to one thing that probably made the biggest difference for me in my last about 15 years of investing, it was getting into rooms like this. And there's more of these groups around. I'm not just saying come to this one. Go to a bunch of them if you want. There's one in Berks, there's one in Lancaster, there's one in Harrisburg, there's a bunch of them around, a number of different types of groups, but it's really fun being a part of a group like this, and you guys coming out really makes that possible. So thanks for being here. Hopefully not too many of you drove through New Holland to get here. Like I said, the parade is going on tonight. John Mark did. I live in New Holland, and this little neat area where we usually have the population is probably about 2,000. Right now the population is probably 30 to 40,000. And it's a fun evening. I actually kind of wish the meeting wouldn't be tonight because I would have enjoyed being there. So it's fun, but it's also kind of chaos for residents and landlords that live in New Holland. So it is what it is. 51 weeks out of the year, New Holland has plenty of parking. The 1 week, which is this week, it's a little crazy. But anyway, you didn't come to hear about the fair, so we'll keep going here. Most of you know this is a free meeting. This is primarily paid for by sponsors, and our 2024 sponsors are Joe Liofsky from Compass Property Management, Dave Wolf, Principal Mortgage Group, Chet Lapp, Providence Abstracting Company, is a title company, Ben Yoesh, a friend of mine, he's a local realtor, Molly is one of the loan officers at Lanka Federal Credit Union, and Jeff Moeller, he does some private lending. So those are the individuals and businesses that are paid for our room rental and the miscellaneous expenses for the year. I'll just buzz over this real quick, but if anyone is not on our email list and you would like to be added, there's a paper in the table on the back where you can scan a QR code or type in my email address, send me an email, I'll get you added to the list if you want. If you don't use email and want to be added to a call blast system to get a voice message, talk to me about that. I can get you on a call blast. One of the fun things we like to do at the beginning of the meeting, most of the time, is have someone provide a little bit of a local market update. So tonight, Kervin Horning, Kervin, you can come on up. Kervin's going to share with us briefly on what he's seeing in the local real estate market. Kervin is a realtor, auctioneer, has been for a while, very plugged into what's going on. So Kervin, tell us what's going on with real estate in Lancaster County.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. I give you a little update here, but before I do that, I just got started reading that book. There's a whole bunch of them back there. Did you know that a flea can jump 150 times its own length? I found that out just now in the book. And I shrank about 1 inch from my max height, so I figured out I would jump 12 feet less because I shrank 1 inch. All right, so it was pretty fascinating. That book is worth picking up back there. The Lancaster County real estate in the last 12 months, the real estate average sale price in Lancaster County is up about 3.8%. So there has been, that's residential in general. 3.8%. The year prior was a little bit over 4%, and the 2 years prior to that was both in the 14%. So we got a nice, solid, steady, slow increase in Lancaster County. The amount of properties on the market is still right around that 500 range, like it's in the 500s. That hasn't changed a lot. Days on the market is right in that 20 days on the market. And the last couple years, it's been right in there. It just fluctuates a little bit, not much. But if you go back like 5 years, like before this all this craziness, it was more along the lines of I think she's looking for something. You got her? All right. What was I saying? 20 days. It was at 40 days. So 40 days, 46 days. Like if you go back, the days on the market. So we have a very, if you didn't list any more houses, all the real estate agents in Lancaster County didn't list another house, and they continued selling at the rate they're selling now, we'd be out of inventory in a little bit over a month. Okay? So there's new inventory coming. I really predict that with the interest dropping, I think we're going to see a little bit of a price increase coming. I really do. I'm feeling a little bit of that pressure coming already. Buyers that were in that market that were 7.5% interest, and now they're like low sixes. So there's a lot of opportunity. I think right now is the best time ever to invest in real estate. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, another little tidbit for tonight that we don't usually, something different than what we're used to doing. You guys have probably all heard about the hurricane down south. It's pretty massive devastation. I don't generally watch the news, so I don't really know in detail what's going on, but I know it's pretty massive. And I know that a local organization, Blessings of Hope, is sending some aid down to them. So David Lapp is here. David, you can come on up. David is you're the CEO of the organization Blessings of Hope, right? So I just asked him if he would share a little bit on what they're seeing and how they're able to help. And maybe most people probably are familiar with your organization, but maybe just a real quick or tell us a little bit about who you are and then how you're involved with the hurricane down there.
Thanks, Jake. So yeah, Blessings of Hope, we're a food distribution center for food banks. So we receive food from over 200 different donors, and then so far this year we're right around 1,500 organizations that we serve with food. So what we've seen is these large corporations have semi-truckloads of food to get rid of. It's usually in-date product, but it's getting close to expiration date. And most food pantries can't take a semi-truckload of product. They can't take a semi-truckload of fresh produce every day. But we live in a nation that wastes a semi-truckload of food every 13 seconds. There is no food shortage. There's a management shortage. Getting the product in, making it available to the people that need it. And then on the other hand, there's an estimated somewhere between 50 and 60 million people that are considered food insecure. And to break that down, it's about the population of Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, and New York. That's what's considered the food insecure side of things. Last year, we distributed 28.5 million pounds of food, which is roughly 0.3%, of what's available. So we are barely scratching the tip of the iceberg of what's out there. The hurricane just went through. So our motto is serving organizations that are serving people in need. And we usually don't get involved in disaster relief unless it's a huge thing where the local community can't take care of it or is a larger scale. The last one that we responded to at this level was Mayfield, Kentucky in 2021, I believe it was. But so with our storage capacity, so far we were able to send 5 semi-truckloads of food down, and we're planning to send a truckload per day for 2 weeks. So looking at around 14, somewhere between 14 and 20 semi-truckloads of food I expect we'll be able to send down over the next month. And this product is going to, we have people on the ground that are then coordinating the distribution of that. I know yesterday they were flying in with helicopters to some remote areas and just dropping the product, rescuing people on the way out. So those kind of things. I was talking to somebody said that area where it's going into, which is Asheville, North Carolina, they had somewhere between 30 and 40 inches of rain in like a day and a half time. And there's one of the lakes down there, they estimated it was taking in 1.2 million gallons of water per second, which is double the rate of the Niagara Falls, if you've ever been to the Niagara Falls. It's double that rate was coming into that lake, and that had to go somewhere. And there was literally just houses, towns just completely washed away with this hurricane. And there's people that worked their whole life for what they had and just see it go down the river in a matter of a day. 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, they were living their life like normal. And just like that, their life changed. So we're very fortunate to be in a county where we're able to respond to a disaster like this and just take some of the product that we had in storage and send it down. In the meantime, our teams are working with some of our major donors and just letting them know that we're doing this, and there's different people that have extra, maybe an extra semi-load, extra half a semi-load that they want to donate, and it's just been amazing to see that come together. So thank you for those of you that are a part of Blessings of Hope, that support it anyway. Thanks, Jake, for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit.
One of the reasons I just think it's that great is because I think it actually ties in a little bit to our topic for tonight. And for those of you that read the email, you know that the topic is not specifically on real estate investing, which is oftentimes the case here. The topic that our speaker is going to be talking tonight is discovering the dreamer within you. And the reason I think that connects to what Dave just shared is Blessings of Hope is a pretty amazing organization. And that was, I don't know exactly how it all came about, but it came about from somebody having a dream, a stirring to do something beyond themselves. And that was built up over quite a number of years. And now when a need like this arises, you guys can spring into action pretty quickly to help people out. And to me, I mean, you've probably heard me say I love real estate investing. I mean, we love what it can do for us, right? I don't like houses that good, especially those 100, 150-year-old houses. I've worked on enough of those. I don't really like them. But I like what they can do. I like the financial freedom, the financial stability that it can bring. So even when we're talking about real estate investing and all of that, it's like, well, is this really the goal? Like, why do we want to invest in real estate? So I'm really excited for the topic tonight. We have a speaker that came up all the way from Kentucky to talk to us. Kevin Davis is a businessman, author, podcast host, international speaker. He's a coach, he's a trainer, and a whole bunch more. And as I was pondering this today, I think it would be fair to say that all of us would have had something else we could have been doing tonight, right? We're probably here because of whether you want to call it a dream or an aspiration or a longing for something more that's within us. And I believe what Kevin is going to work on doing tonight is to help us draw that out of us, help us identify that in ourselves and put it to action. Think about this. So if you have a dream or a desire or a goal or something that is really on your heart, why do you think it's there? I mean, if your dream is to like rob a bank or something, I would suggest you go to a different meeting and like get over that. But we're talking about dreams that are good, that were put there for a reason. In the world we live in, there's a kingdom of light and there's a kingdom of darkness, right? So if you have a dream, a vision, or a stirring of something within you that would basically improve something in society if that dream was realized, isn't that worth paying attention to? I mean, what if God specifically placed in you, in each of us, something that he wants us to act on to accomplish something much bigger than ourselves? I mean, isn't that worth paying a bit of attention to and trying to find out what that is and nurture that and develop that into what he wants it to be? So I don't know where Kevin's all going to go with this, but I think it is it's a topic that I'm really excited about. A lot of us probably, if we think about it, so I think some of the dreams, some of the aspirations that we have are to accomplish a certain thing. Some of them are to avoid something. Some people grew up in certain environments, whether it was a lack of money, whatever it was, and so their dreams, aspirations, whatever, might be to avoid that situation. So it can be to gain something that we want or to avoid something that we don't want. And sometimes many of us have got, told over and over, some of us probably many of us, when we're young, it's like we've been told all the things we can't do, right? So it's pretty normal for those dreams to kind of get beat out of us and for us to, whatever reason, just believe that, you know what, this must be for other people. This isn't for me, whatever that thing might be. So I am, let me just check my notes here. I always feel like I forget something. But yeah, I think we're good to go. So with that, would you please help me welcome our guest speaker, Kevin Davis.
Thank you, sir. All right. Yeah, it's good to be with you this evening. Thank you for that. Always excited when I get to come to visit with you folks. I've been to this meeting once or twice, always an exciting time. What really enthuses me and excites me about this is I know this is a room full of dreamers. This whole meeting is about dreaming. It's about dreaming that you can be more, so you can do more, so you can have more. Because when we become more, it gives us the ability to do more. When we do more, we can have more. And when we have more, we can help other people.
Hate to interrupt someone when they get in the flow, but can we adjust your mic down about one notch?
All right.
We're going to try to tone the volume down just a little
Tone
bit.
it down a little, okay.
They were saying they were hearing us across the room there.
All
So
right, awesome.
if any of you guys can't hear, just come on up, circle around on the carpet. Kevin will just act like he's talking to his grandkids. That'll be perfect. So.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. All right. So, you excited to be here this evening? All right, that's good. All right, because I'm excited to be here as well. I didn't know I was competing with the fair, but that's all good. There's some good stuff at the fair too. Several of my friends that were here, they had some commitments there, so that's where they're at. But, you know, Jake has told you just a little bit about me, and typically, you know, when you talk about over the years, who is Kevin Davis? I tell people that I'm basically a country boy from Inez, Kentucky. Inez, Kentucky, population 600 people. There's 12,000 in our county, about 3 of them's in the federal pen. So, you know, it's a small town. You know, I grew up in a small town. I grew up, you know, didn't go to college. I was always an entrepreneur from the time that I was just young. When my dad, at 12 years old, he gave me a lawnmower and a weed eater and taught me to go fund myself. And probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because that put some drive and some work ethic in me, and it gave me a sense of accomplishment and pride when I would go earn that money and would get something that I want. I started dreaming at a young age, but I found out that dreams only happen if you work for it. You have to work for it. You have to get a vision. You know, the Scripture even tells us where there is no vision that the people perish. Without a vision, there's no hope. Without any hope, people just give up. That's when we perish. But over the years, I've been very fortunate to do some different business things. Currently, my M. Kevin Davis speaking, training, coaching business is where I'm focusing most of my time. I built a chain of oil change places, Quick Lubes. I built that over about 30 years. Started off with one. We ended up building that up into about 25 locations over 4 states, had over 100 employees. Very blessed and fortunate to do that. December of 22, we sold that company. We sold that company. I stayed on with the company who merged with me and bought me, and I'm doing leadership development and training for them. But I've been doing, you know, the Quick Lube oil change business, much of different things. I'm certified with John Maxwell, Ziglar. But at the end of the day, when I put this big long list of things up that I've done, I tell everybody that all of this plus $1.06 will get you a large sweet tea at McDonald's in Inez, Kentucky. You know, and my daughter just messed that up because it sounds pretty good, $1.06, that rings really good. My daughter, I was out speaking somewhere and I get a message and she sends me a picture and it's the screen at the McDonald's in Inez. And she said, "Dad, you got to change your story." I said, "What?" She said, "It's $1.38 now. It's inflation." Yeah, so, but at the end of the day, I'm just here. I just want to be your friend today. Can we be friends? Somebody said, he looks like he needs a friend. I heard that. Yeah, that's all right. We all need friends, though, don't we? Because really, everything in life is all about our relationships. It is. It's all about our relationships, our communication with one another. Because at the end of the day, I love to say this saying, and I say it almost every time, that it's kind of like driving down a country road and you see a turtle on a fence post. The turtle never got there by itself. Really, none of us really get anywhere by ourselves. It takes a group of people that support each other, encourage each other, because there's times that we need lifted up, there's times that we need to lift others up, there's times that we need encouraged, there's times that we need to encourage others. So I just want to be your friend, and that's what I hope this evening. I hope that we can spend some time together, that maybe we can just inspire each other, that we can equip each other and that we can motivate each other to be all that we were created to be. So since we're friends, I want to tell you a little bit about my real world. This is my world. I'm very fortunate to have my wife with me today. She doesn't get to travel with me a lot, but she got to come on this trip with me, so always makes my trips better. Paulette and I have been married 32 years? Yeah. 30. It's always got to be careful when she's in the room when I say that. 32 years, and 32 years, this is what we've built. Certainly proud of this, proud of my family. We have my oldest daughter right behind me there. She's 30 years old. She's a school teacher. She teaches third graders. She's been doing that. That's her passion and her love. The one right beside of Paulette is my middle daughter, Mallory. Mallory is in her second year of optometry school. She's going to be an eye doctor. And then that tall fellow over there, grinning real big, that's my son, Dennison. He's my best buddy in the world. And I tell people sometimes, I said, you know, when you accomplish a goal in life that it just makes you feel really fulfilled, but then you don't have a whole lot to look forward to. He's already accomplished the greatest goal he had in life. He's 19 years old and he's already accomplished it. Can you believe that? I mean, it happened during COVID. He was about 5'8", 5'9", and he said, Dad, I'm going to be 6 foot tall. And I said, Bud, you're not going to be tall. Pawpaw was 5'8". I'm 5'10". You're not going to be tall. It's not going to happen. I don't know what happened during COVID. He's 6'3". He shot up, and now he comes in the house, and he gets up next, and he'll come up, and he'll say, Hey, Mom, you seen Dad? Oh, Dad, down there he is. He gets so excited to do that, and he still does it all the time and still thinks it's funny. And I'm sitting here thinking, I can still take you, son. You may be big, but I can still take you. But he's in college right now. He's second year in college. He's going to be a physical therapist, I think. I mean, he's 19 and the smartest person he knows. You know what I mean? Yes, he knows everything about everything already. Just ask him, he'll tell you. And you know the reason I know that so well? Because I was that guy too. I was him one time. So my wife reminds me when I get so upset with him, she reminds me, he's just like you. He's just like you. But really the whole world here, oh yeah, there's another one in the picture, right? Anyone want to guess who that is? Yeah, the son-in-law. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my son-in-law, it was funny because used to we was taking all the pictures and one of my buddies will send me a thing. He says, why is Cody never in the pictures? I said, somebody has to take them. So he's upgraded now, so he's in the picture. So I tell him all the time, I said, son, you've done two good things in life. Right there. Yeah, you've done two good things. He has really given me the greatest things that I've ever had right here is these two babies. I'm one of those guys that used to make fun of these crazy grandparents. I did. I used to say, I will never be one of them crazy grandparents. I'm not going, look at that, Paulette. That's the silliest thing I've ever seen. They just cry and they give them what they want. They just buy everything and just give it to them. Forgive me for I have sins because I'm one of them now. It's like, I tell my daughter if he wants ice cream, he's getting ice cream. If he wants two, he can have two. It's so fun. Yeah. And so now, it's like, used to they cry a little bit, and I say, oh, what's the want? Let's get it to him. And they said, Dad, when we cried, you said, if you don't quit that, I'll give you something to cry about. And I was sitting there thinking, but I like him. Yeah, I like him. They're fun. But that is my world, and we have so much fun. Very fortunate they were able to build a house right next to us. My wife babysits them every single day, so he loves the farm. He's always with Poppy, and we're out on the tractor or the equipment. We're feeding the animals and doing that, so we're certainly living the dream there. Been very fortunate and blessed, but that's my world. Since we're friends, it's okay to share that with you, right? Okay, all right. But that's why I do what I do today is all about my family because everything's about them. Everything that I've done and accomplished has been about making a better life for my family and giving them a way that I can inspire them, equip them, and motivate them to be all that they were created to be. Because every one of us were created with a purpose. There are no accidents or no mistakes. Every one of us are engineered for success. We're all endowed with the seeds of greatness. We're all got exactly what we need to be who we were created to be. The gifts and the talents and abilities are there. Several years ago, I came up when I was trying to figure some things out, and I come up with this quote that I use often. And this is my life quote, and I say this often, that life is a journey. It's a journey of aligning your dreams charting your course and navigating yourself to the purpose-filled life that you were created to live. And it took me a while to learn this, but life is a journey. But so many times in life, we get so focused on the destination that we miss the blessings of the journey. We get so focused on getting from point A to point B that we miss everything on the journey. And what I have found in life, that the most important things to me and the things that I found to be the most valuable are the things that many years of my life I run past trying to get to the destination. So what I want to encourage people today is to don't lose sight of the journey. Because the journey is where you're going to find the hope. The journey is where you're going to find the joy. The journey is where it's going to bring out who you really are. And it's in the journey that's going to help you to help others become who they were created to be. So don't get so focused on the destination. I think we need the destination. The destination can be the dream. The destination can be the goal. The destination can be where we're going to get. But it's not about getting there, because I want to share with you a little bit about that a little later as we move on, about finding out what really means true life. You can live your dream and you can fulfill your purpose, but I want to tell you right now, it's going to start with you. It starts with you. No one can do it for you. No one can be you, because you're you're fearfully and wonderfully made. No one else is made just like you. You were created with a purpose, with a calling. No one else can be you. It's up to you to be who you were created to be. It's up to you to live your dream. So over the years, I've been figuring this thing on the dream catcher, and I'm a self-proclaimed dream catcher. Many years I say this, and Kevin said this to me when I met him back here. I met him here before, and how are you doing? I'm living the dream. Most likely, if you've met me or you've been around me very long and you say, how are you doing? My response is going to be, I'm living the dream. And I truly believe that I am living the dream. I'm living the dream, and I've been living the dream most of my life. I grew up in a small town. I grew up in a place that a lot of people said that you can't do or be anything here. You got to leave to be something. I grew up because I wasn't in school, and I didn't like school, and I didn't do good in school, that people said, you're never going to be able to do this. You're never going to be able to do that. I grew up hearing those things, but it never stole that dream out of sight of me. And I learned that being a dream catcher was what I was committed, not only pursuing my own dreams, but committed to helping others pursue their own dreams. Through my experience on this dream catcher journey, that's what I aim to do now, is to aim and share the principles that I have learned with others so you can learn to catch your dreams as well. We're going to embark on a journey to discover the dreamer within each and every one of us. Every single one of us has a dream inside of us. Every single one of us has got a spark inside of us that's just waiting to flourish. It's just waiting to come out. It's waiting to bloom and develop into what you were created to do and be. Sometimes we just need somebody to fan the flame. Sometimes we just have to start believing in ourselves enough to take a chance and say, yes, I'm going to do it. Everyone has this inside of them. It's just waiting to be awakened. So Jake said it a little bit earlier, but what is a dream? What is a dream? Now, we can define dreams a lot of different ways, but basically what a dream is, it's an aspiration, it's an ambition, it's an idea. It is a driving force that propels us to do something. Why are you here at this real estate meetup? Why did you take time out of your busy schedule after working all day to come here to learn something? Why? Because you're wanting to have more. You're wanting to do more. You're wanting to accomplish more. There's something inside of you that says, I can do, be, and have more. It's inside of us. And sometimes people get stuck. And what happens when they get stuck is they lose that ability to dream. And I often tell people, why do they quit dreaming? Why do we quit dreaming? A lot of times people stop dreaming because of lack of encouragement. A lot of times, how many times have you had a dream or an ideal that you've went and shared with somebody and they say, that'll never work? Did everybody believe you when you said what you was going to do with blessing and hope? Did everybody say, oh yeah, that's going to be perfect, it's going to be great? Most likely they didn't. I mean, I can almost tell you everything that I have done, somebody has told me that it couldn't be done. Almost everything that I have done that has been successful, if I would have listened to other people, I would have never done it. Because they said, oh, it can't be done. Oh, they've tried that before. When I started the oil change business, It was $19.99 for an oil change, right? And everybody in our area changed their own oil. And I said, I'm going to start an oil change. And everybody said, it'll never work. People won't pay you $20 to change their oil. They do it themselves. There's no way. How many of them you got to do a day to make it? It'll never work. You know what? I said, I believe it will. And I went and borrowed money. And then after I borrowed money, I got to thinking, what if it don't work? Whew. Maybe I've messed up. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Because that's that seed of doubt. And that's what the enemy does. The enemy wants to rob you of what's inside of you. And I want to tell you what happened is I pushed past that. It wasn't easy. It was very hard because there was more people telling me that I couldn't do it than there were people telling me that I could. There's more people outside of this room than there are inside of this room. You have to listen to what your inside tells you. Because your potential is unlimited. About the fleas in there. We look at that flea as small and insignificant and do nothing. If I ask you what a flea is, you start scratching and you think it's a nuisance. When you read about what a flea can do, you can say, oh my goodness, if a flea can do that, what do you think you and I can do? It's yet to be seen what you can do when you fully commit to that. But what happens is people start hearing the doubt and they start hearing that. But I want to tell you what happened to me. I did it anyhow. I did it afraid. I did it with doubters. I did it with people saying I was crazy and I was not going to be able to make it. I did it with, man, you're messing your family up. But I did it anyhow. And in 3 years, we built 12 locations. In 3 years, we built 12 locations. And I think I was scared and running so fast, I just kept working while I was running. And then we had to stop and figure out how to run them. You know, so, but I was still scared. I still get scared. I still get nervous. I got nervous and scared when I was sitting in the parking lot coming in. Why do they want to hear what you have to say? What would you have to say that will help any of them? You probably ought to just go back on down the road, go back to Kentucky. You don't have any, that doubt and that stuff. But that's what happens to people's dreams. They get a dream, and then they let that negative self-talk start saying that it can't happen, that it's not going to happen. You have to overcome that because when that happens, you just disengage. And when you disengage, what happens is you just start going through the motions because you don't really have anything to get excited about. You don't have anything to work for. You don't have anything to get excited about. I tell you what, I tell people all the time, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And they say, Kevin, you're old. I said, don't tell me that. I don't believe it because I'm not going to believe that I'm old. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And when people tell me, well, you've already made it, you ought to retire. No, get away from me. I'm just getting started. With all the experience and all the knowledge, now I can probably do it without as many mistakes. Because I've learned more. I'm able to do more. I've got more experience. I know more people. But what happens when people allow this stuff to steal their dreams? We have to recognize this and we have to immediately quit letting people steal our dreams. You were born to dream. You were given a gift to dream. Dreaming is an ability that is a gift that is given to us to be able to see things and be able to envision it. And I believe Stephen Covey said it. He said we must begin with the end in mind. And I can tell you this. I saw myself successful in everything that I've done before I even started. I painted that picture in my mind. I saw myself standing in front of a crowd like this, speaking, when I would have took a 0 in school before I would have got up in a crowd. But I said, one day I'm going to be doing this. I saw myself with everything that I've done. I do well to write my name. I do well to do a paper. And I decided I saw myself writing a book. People, we know you, Kevin, you're not going to write a book. It's not going to happen. I wrote a book. Now I'm writing like 2 or 3 more books that I got coming out and working on those. It's inside of you. I'm nothing special. I'm nothing different. You can do the very same thing, but what you have to do is you have to learn to discover the dreamer within you. Because every one of us has different dreams. You can't be me and I can't be you. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people want to do is we see everybody else doing things and we measure ourselves up against what somebody else has done. And if we do that, we're always going to find ourselves coming up short. We don't need to measure ourselves up against anybody else except us, our abilities, our talents, and our gifts, that we become the best that we can be in and of ourselves. Because I tell my kids all the time, I want you to win, but it's not about winning. It's about doing the best that you're capable of doing. I think John Wooden, I believe, is that great coach that said one time when he defined success, success is when you do the best at whatever you do with what you're capable of doing. So when we talk about dream, every one of us has these dreams. We all have opportunities to be dream catchers. We just have to believe in ourselves. And then we have to take the chance. This is my logo. This is my dream catcher logo. This is my M. Kevin Davis logo. I got this logo, I forget how many years ago, and it probably got it about 2 in the morning. Most of the stuff I get usually about 2 or 3 in the morning. I usually wake up and my mind's going just crazy and I can't sleep, and she usually knows, you're getting up to go write something, aren't you? And yeah. And I usually go and I just start just putting whatever I feel that, God's sharing with me or telling me to do. And I drew this probably one of those nights at 2 in the morning. And Dreamcatcher, this is kind of inspired from the Native American Dreamcatcher. So a Native American Dreamcatcher was something that they would create and they would hang it, and the purpose of it in their belief was that it's going to protect them from bad dreams. It's only going to filter out the bad and only going to allow the good to come in. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, I need to start filtering my dreams. I need to start filtering my dreams to make sure that they're my dreams and not somebody else's. That I'm not doing this because, oh my goodness, when I was growing up, people said, oh, you'd be really good at this. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. And then I would go and I would be doing it, and I was hating every moment of it. And then somebody would say, oh my goodness, you're really good at this. That's what I'm supposed to do. Then I would start doing that. And I was still miserable. I needed to learn to filter my dreams in a way that I could find out what my dream was, not what somebody else's dream was for me. Not what I saw somebody else doing and said, oh, wow, that's what I want to do too. And then it came to me. In coaching and consulting all these years, I have people all the time coming to me and saying, Kevin, can you help me find direction? Can you help me find purpose? Can you help me find meaning? Can you help me find what it is that I can do that I'll be fulfilled? I'd heard that so much, and it just clicked. I read Amos chapter 7. I think it's verse 8. God speaking to Amos, and He said, Amos, what do you see? He said, I see a plumb bob coming down out of heaven. And basically it just clicked with me. And what God was saying to him and said, until you get vertically aligned with me, until you get aligned with who you were created to be, who you were called to be, to fulfilling your purpose, you're going to wander aimlessly and nothing is going to fulfill you and nothing is going to be right. And then it just clicked to me and I said, I have to get vertically aligned. Until I get aligned with Him and I get aligned with my purpose, my calling, who I was fearfully and wonderfully made, I'm never going to find my direction. So what I want to encourage people to do today is get vertically aligned. Get vertically aligned with your passions, with your calling, with who you were created to do, what it is that you love. And then all of a sudden, when we get vertically aligned, all of a sudden, it's like when we get our heart right, our mind gets right. And all of a sudden, when our mind gets right, our steps get right. That's simple. That is not rocket science. That's not anything that is just simple, but every single time, my journey to success came when I figured out how to get my heart right so I could get my mind right so my steps would be right. Because I went the wrong way a long time. And this problem with me is when you're like me and you run 110 miles an hour, everything you do is fast-paced. You don't slow down. It's just you go. The problem is when you go so hard and fast, if you're going in the wrong direction, you usually go a long way before you realize you're going the wrong way. And then you got to come back. But when I figured out how to get aligned, when I figured out how to do those things, all of a sudden then it started clicking. It started doing that. So if I were to ask you a question tonight, how many of you, by the show of hands, would like to find true direction? That you'd like to find clarity? That you would like to discover the dream within inside of you? I think it's safe to say that's what we all want. Why are you in a meeting like this on what is today, Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is now. Yeah. So, why are you here on a Wednesday evening listening to a funny talking guy from Kentucky? It's because you're trying to find where it is that you need to be, where it is you want to be, what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to accomplish. What if you could discover the true purpose that you were meant to fulfill? What if you could align your heart with your deepest passions, that you could set yourself on a course of greatness? What if every day you woke up knowing exactly where you were headed, filled with purpose and clarity? I want to tell you, when I'm in that zone, that's the best feeling ever. And I can tell you the last several years I've spent most of my life in that place. But it came with getting aligned. It came with getting my heart right so I could get my head right, so I could get my steps right. The journey to aligning your dreams, charting your course, and navigating your path is the essence of the Dreamcatcher principles and the Dreamcatcher journey that I'm sharing with you this evening. So what is a dream catcher? So since I'm a self-proclaimed dream catcher, and since I come up with that, I can define what a dream catcher is, right? Because I came up with it. It's mine. Not the Native American dream catcher, not the other dream catchers, but my dream catcher with a plumb bob hanging in the center of a compass. Somebody who wants to get their heart right so they can get their mind right, so they can find the steps to having true clarity, true direction, true peace. A dream catcher is not just a dreamer. A dream catcher is a visionary person. A dream catcher sees more than what's before the eye. A dream catcher is someone that can see a vacant piece of property and they can see that building or that apartment or that retail center. They can see it before it's ever started. A visionary is that person that begins to build a house, and before the house is even there, they can see somebody sitting on the porch. They see exactly what it's going to look like. A visionary is someone that can see and paint that picture before it ever begins to happen. And that's what we want to do, is get clarity. We want to see what it is that we want to become before we ever become it. You have to see it. You have to see it, and you got to look for it, and you got to just search your heart and find out what that is. They're a person who embraces the journey of aligning their dreams, charting their course, and navigating to a purpose-filled life. A dream catcher is someone who embodies faith. They embody determination. A dream catcher is someone that takes action. Someone that is continually striving to do better. Some people said when I sold the company, they would say, "So I guess you've retired." I said, "I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started." They said, "Well, when are you going to retire?" When you see the obituary that Kevin Davis is no longer here, you can say he retired. But I will not retire until that day, because I don't believe that I was created with a purpose and a calling to sit around and do nothing. I believe that I was created with a purpose and a calling to change lives, to make a difference for other people. And the only way I can do that is to be the best version of me that I'm created to be. The only way I can do that is to be a dream catcher that is a visionary, somebody that embodies these things, somebody that strives for that. Every one of us here can do that very same thing. The characteristics of a dream catcher, things that a dream catcher do, is they have confidence and they have purpose. Their eyes reflect a deep sense of vision and clarity, knowing exactly what it is that they want to achieve. They carry themselves with calm assurance. They're grounded in their faith and their belief in their dreams. Their demeanor is both inspiring and approachable. And being inspiring and approachable makes you a leader and a mentor that other people feel comfortable coming to, that you can pour into and invest in them. What actions do dream catchers take? Dream catchers are always aligning their dreams by reflecting on their passions and their desires, ensuring that their goals and ambitions are their goals. They have to be ambitious, but yet they have to be meaningful. Somebody taught me a long time ago, "Kevin, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough." I lived most of my life scared to death, because I got some, I think Jim Collins said, BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. I just call them scary dreams. Simple for me to understand. But I keep wanting to challenge myself to dream bigger. to dream bigger, to dream more, to see myself bigger. If you would have asked me 20, 25 years ago, would I be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, speaking at a real estate investors group, I was probably still trying to figure out what I was going to be doing in 5 minutes. If you would have told me I would have been doing this that long ago, it would have scared me to death. Still scares me to do it. But I still do it afraid. A dream catcher is someone that learns to chart their course and navigate those challenges. When we talk about those that are strategic planners, they set clear and actionable goals. What a dream catcher does is also they navigate the challenges and you embrace those challenges as opportunities. That was a hard one for me. Some of the hardest things that I've ever done has been some of the best things that's ever happened to me. Some of the biggest challenges and biggest obstacles that I faced, navigating through them is who has molded and made me into who I am today. So in other words, when he says count it all joy when you fall into the diverse temptations, somebody smarter than me said that. When you find yourself in a challenge, you see that as an opportunity that I'm going to learn something. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be an overcomer. I'm going to be a conqueror. And when I get through this, I'm going to be higher on the mountain. There are no mountaintop experiences without going through the valley. You're not going to have the mountaintop experience without going through a few valleys. So when we talk about these things, they're proactive, they're disciplined, they're constantly taking steps toward their goals. But most of all, they're always inspiring and equipping other people. What are some of the accomplishments that a dream catcher has? They have significant milestones along this journey in personal and professional lives that reflects their dedication and their hard work. As dream catchers, you overcome adversity, demonstrating resilience and resourcefulness. You live with a purpose, creating a balanced life grounded in faith. But most importantly, once again, you positively impact others, inspiring and equipping them. By defining what it means to be a dream catcher, that's what I want to inspire you this evening. All these things are things that I have learned in my journey. As I sit back over my 30 plus years of accomplishing the things that I have, these are the characteristics and the actions and the things that have got me to where I'm at today. And these are the same things that are going to take me to where I'm destined to be, as long as I keep my focus on those. So I have a few questions for you. By show of hands, how many of y'all can think about a dream that you once had? Any dreamers in here? Maybe it's a dream that you brought to reality. Maybe it's a dream that you give up on and quit. And maybe it's a dream you've been waiting to start, but you've just not started yet. But I think every one of us, if we're honest, are we still friends? Okay, I got to ask every now and then because y'all get a little bit, we're on the edge. Okay, we're getting close here. Yeah, you just like Aaron. Every one of us has got dreams inside of us. So if I were to ask you, what if you dared to dream again? If I were to ask you if you knew the next dream that you were going to fulfill was going to be the most fulfilling dream that you've ever had, how many of y'all would say, I'm in, I want it. I want it. I want the most fulfilling dream that I've ever had. Exactly. So conversely, if I were to ask you the question, what happens if you just stop dreaming? What happens if you just stop dreaming? You just say, you know what, I've tried this, it didn't work. So-and-so said I'll never be able to do it. Maybe they're right. I watched them fail. They failed. If they can't do it, maybe I can't. They're smarter than me. They're better than me. They have more opportunities. If you stop dreaming again, I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to miss one of the greatest opportunities. One of my favorite books that I read is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, he talks about the person who went and began to drill for gold ore. And he went and invested all of his money in this drilling rig. And he done all this stuff, and he drilled, and he hit a little bit. And all of a sudden, it just went away, and there was nothing there. I failed. Goes to the junk scrap metal place and says, what do you give me for this rig? It's no good for me anymore. There's no good. I've missed it. I'll buy the rig. I'll take it. He called an engineer. He says, I'm not going to scrap this. This is a perfectly good rig. This guy was drilling. He said, did he know about the fault line? What fault line? Well, there's a fault line over there. I think we ought to take that back and drill again. If I'm not mistaken, they moved that drill over 2 feet. They hit an endless supply. 2 feet. 2 feet. What they say, our heart is 18 inches from our brain or something. You know what? I've been within 18 inches of losing some of my biggest dreams before. Between my heart and my mind. My heart saying I could do it and my mind saying I couldn't. Just about giving up. Several times I've just about given up. That's what happens when you stop dreaming. You could be 2 feet away. You could be 18 inches away. You could be 6 inches away from your breakthrough. From everything that you've hoped for everything you've wanted. There are so many people that are living beneath their potential and their ability because they stopped dreaming. I want to encourage you, if you get nothing else out of this tonight, keep dreaming. Dream big dreams, crazy dreams. Dream dreams that you just think are unimaginable. And then figure out what you got to do to make it happen. Work toward it. Do it. They said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. There's a lot of things that I wished I would have done 20 years ago. But it doesn't stop me from doing what I can do today. If I would have done things different, it would have been different. Some of the things that I accomplished, I would have accomplished a lot sooner had I not let somebody steal my dream or somebody hold me back or somebody keep me from doing that. But I want to encourage you, the best time to start dreaming was years ago. The second best time is right now, right here. I want to share a story with you a little bit about my dad and about dreaming. So my dad had a tough life. My dad was 55 when I was born. My mom was in her 40s. They had already basically raised their family. I got a niece that's 11 months older than me. My sister was already married and had a baby. I had a sister, a senior in high school, and a brother that was just getting ready to start high school when I was born. So needless to say, I don't think they expected me to come, right? But God doesn't make mistakes, and God doesn't make no junk, so I'm here. So unexpectedly. But my dad's story was at age, he was born in 1914. In 1928, at 14 years old, his dad died. He had to go work in the coal mines. The coal mines was tough work back in those days. I mean, it was brute. I mean, it was that. At 14 years old, I can't imagine it. When I look at kids that are 14 years old now, and I picture my dad going to work every day to take care of his mom and his sisters, coming home at night and having to bring in the coal for the fire to keep them warm and do all the things that he had to do, I can't hardly imagine that. So my dad's childhood was pretty much robbed away from him because he had to go into life really quick. And then all of a sudden, he meets my mom and they get married. They have their family and they're doing good. He builds a little 4-room house there and a little small piece of property that we was raised on, and he done some things. When I was born, when he was 55, they found out that mom was pregnant with me. They told my dad he had 6 months to live, that he was eat up with lung cancer, and it was the black lung from the coal mines. So here my dad is with 3 kids and 1 coming on the way, looking at my mom and thinking, I'm getting ready to leave her with a new baby and all this stuff. I can't imagine what my dad felt like with that. So needless to say, my dad wasn't a dreamer. My dad was a survivor. He went into survival mode. I mean, his whole life at 14, he was forced to go into survival mode. He didn't dream big. He was just getting by. He fell into that thing. He was just getting by, going through the motions. My dad lived 27 more years. Yeah. My dad lived to be 83 years old, so he lived to be almost, whatever, I don't know, I got my math wrong there, but he lived to be 83 years old. My dad raised me because my mom had to go to work in a dress shop and she sewed and done all that stuff while Dad stayed home and took care of me. And my dad had a pretty good life, but it didn't end after that. So my dad was thinking he was going to die the whole time because he never thought he wasn't going to die after they told him he was going to die. So for the next several years that he lived, he was still thinking he was going to die because they told him he was going to die. And he was scared to death. He couldn't breathe. He was scared to death to do things and all this stuff because of what they told him. But it got a little worse because when I was 4 or 5 years old, my brother that had just graduated high school just a week before tragically drowned and had an accident swimming and died. So my dad's dreams stripped again. His world's just destroyed and just rocked. And he's got this young little fella now running around like me. And I told my sisters, I said, you know, I think my whole purpose in life was to make you all look better. And I did good at it. Because they always told me how good they were, and I wasn't like them. Yeah. But my sisters would say, I think that you're the reason Mom and Dad survived because they had a baby they had to raise, and they done that. But when my dad was 78 years old, I'd met Paulette and I wanted to get married. I bought a piece of property that I couldn't afford and get married. Mom and Dad said, we'll take over that property because I was supposed to got the home place. And my sister told Mom and Dad, we'll help you and guys build a house if you want to give Kevin the home place, and Kevin will give you that property, and then he can get married and we'll do that. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's a pretty good deal. We'll do that. So we do that. So at 78 years old, my dad was living in his dream home. A brick home with a big front porch. I can still see him now. He sat on that porch every single day and watched cars go by. He got him a tractor. You know, we lived on a little piece carved out of a hill, right? I mean, it was like 1/8 of an acre or something carved out. He pushed a lawnmower. Now, I want to describe tractors because I've seen some of y'all's tractors, so you got some nice tractors. His tractor was a 38-inch Craftsman riding lawnmower. Okay? But to him, it was a tractor, okay? Got me a tractor, son. He was so proud of that tractor. At 78 years old, being robbed from dreaming all his life, all of a sudden he's getting hope and he's getting encouragement again. He's living in a house he never thought he would live in. He's driving a tractor, riding lawnmower around, and he was so proud. I mean, he had his Kmart jeans, his white button-up shirt, his pocket protector in there with his screwdriver and his Farm Bureau notepad and his ink pad and his little screwdriver. He had all that stuff in there, had his big white hat on, the big tall, trucker hat. And man, he's just doing that. I'd say, Dad, you want me to cut your grass? Don't get on my lawnmower, son. And I was the favorite. I mean, he let me do anything I wanted to do. And he said, don't get on my lawnmower. He let nobody on his lawnmower. That was his, right? That was his domain. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, my dad's living his dream. And then I remember when I went to him and told him that I was going to start this business. I said, Dad, I'm going to borrow money and I'm going to put in it. Son, don't do it. You got a good job. He said, you just go to work every day. He said, you save, you give to the church, you take care of your family. And he said, you work more than what they want out of you, and you just keep your steady job. That's what we do. You just keep doing that. Don't take a chance. It's not worth it. Don't take a chance. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, you old and you don't know, man. I was the smartest fellow I knew at that time. And he kept saying, don't do it, don't do it. And my dad loved me better than anything. He wasn't trying to hurt me. He thought that was best for me. Sometimes people who still love you will hold you back. Sometimes people that love you the most and care the most about you because of their fear, because they lost their dreaming ability, they'll almost take your dreaming away, not because they're trying to hurt you, because they're trying to protect you. Dad said, don't do it. Don't do it. I done it. And he said, don't do it. I said, Dad, guess what? I'm borrowing more money. We're doing a second store. Son, don't. Oh, my goodness, leave good enough alone. We got like 5 stores, and I go back. Son, you're doing good. Why don't you just keep what you got? That's fine. Be satisfied. Be content with what you got. Don't get greedy. Don't do that. When I got to store 10, something happened. I awakened the dreamer within my dad. Because I said, Dad, guess what? I'm getting ready to... He said, are you going to do some more, son? That's what happens when you start dreaming. You start awakening the dreamer in other people. And it makes other people better. It helps other people do these things. At age 80, my dad seen this truck go by. 1995 Ford F-150. He says, Dad, he said, son, that's a nice truck. I said, Dad, why don't you go get you one of them trucks? Son, I can't afford one of them trucks. I said, yes, you can. You can. I can't afford that. He said, that's all the money I got in the bank. I said, Dad, let's go get that truck. Son, I'll never be able to recoup that money. I said, what are you going to do with it? You're 80 years old. What do you need the money for? Get the truck. I don't have anything to leave you and your mom, your sisters. I said, you don't need to leave us anything. You've already taught us and trained us. Get the truck. We drove to Huntington, West Virginia, about an hour and 15 minutes. The whole time he was sitting over there. I don't think I should do this, son. I don't think I should. Yeah, Dad, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Peer pressure, right? What I was doing, I was trying to make my dad dream. I was trying to get him to experience something. We go down there. He's signing the check to pay for that truck, and he's just so nervous. And I said, Dad, you're doing the right thing. I want to tell you, for 2.5 years, he lived the dream. I lived about 10 miles away, and he kept his post office over there where I was at. Every day he drove to the post office, got his mail and my mail, pulled in my driveway to see my daughter and bring the mail, let her take everything out of his pocket protector and lay it on his thing, and then put it back, and then he would leave. Every day for 2.5 years, he'd come and done that. And everybody knew he'd done it because he drove about 25 miles an hour. And he had a line of traffic about... And they would embarrass me, and I would say, Dad, there's a lot of people behind you. And he says, I'm not in a hurry. I'm enjoying my truck. I said, but Dad, they're in a hurry. Well, they need to slow down. He was enjoying it. I say that to say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. The best time to dream was 20 years ago. It's never too late to dream a new dream. It's never too late. I got to experience and watch my dad become a dreamer again. I got to experience and watch him. And that was when it kind of revealed to me that I was part of that. And I think that's the reason I feel I have this message to share with other people, is because I know how to catch dreams. I know how to live dreams that I think now I want to see other people do it, because I have found I get more joy now from seeing somebody else do it than doing it myself. When I think about those things, I just want to inspire you, equip you, and motivate you, regardless of where you've been, regardless of how long you've been there, where you are now. It's time to dream. One of the things I say often, I used to use this kind of when I preach, and it says, but yesterday is a memory. Tomorrow is a possibility. Today is the day. We can't do anything about yesterday. There's not a thing that you and I can go to change about yesterday. We really don't have a promise of tomorrow. We may never meet like this ever again. We may never all be, we don't know what's going to happen between now and the next thing. Today, right now, is the time to dream. Today, right now, is the time to do that. The Dreamcatcher principles that I've learned have taken me from a place of desire to living my dream, and they can do the same for you. If I could show you how to do this, what would it be worth? It'd be priceless, isn't it? It's priceless. When you learn and know the principles on living your dream, it's priceless. You can't put a price tag on that. The Dreamcatcher principles are just a series of steps that take you from wherever you are to where you're destined to be. These principles of aligning, and if you notice, I've capitalized your in every one of them. Because you have to align your dream. You don't want to be like Kevin. You don't want to do what Kevin done. You don't want to be like Jake. You don't want to be like David. You want to be who you were created to be. Quit looking and comparing and trying to figure out, trying to be someone else. Align your dream. Chart your course and navigate your path. It's important when we start discovering the dream within us that we live our dream, not someone else's. I think I spend some of my time in my life living other people's dreams. I did. I mean, and you know what? It was good experiences, but it wasn't fulfilling. It was beneficial, but it didn't give me purpose. So what's your dream? So when we talk about principle 1, you need to align your dreams with your passions and your values. You know, this involves some self-discovery, understanding what it is that truly drives you. It's having that plumb bottom experience that Amos had. It's digging down deep and finding out what it is that truly excites you, what it is that gets you that you'll just wake up early. My son, he'll sleep late if you let him. He will. He'll sleep late as you let him. If you don't get him up and tell him he's got to go feed or he's got to go do something, he'll lay in the bed. He loves to golf. He loves to golf. I mean, I'm hollering at him, hey son, get up, go feed. Hey son, get up, go to the barn. Hey son, I will in a minute, Dad, I will in a minute. If we're going to go golfing, 5 a.m. in the morning, hey Dad, you ready yet? Son, we're not leaving until 6:30. I know, let's go. Why? He's passionate about that, right? He loves that. He doesn't love the barn. He doesn't love the animals. He loves that. What we need to do is find things that we love like that. What it is, I told one of my good buddies, we'll be talking about stuff and he's just like, da, 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 da. And all of a sudden you start talking about turkey hunting and he said, oh my goodness, Kevin, I done the call and I done it and it came flying, boom, I got it. I mean, well, yeah, he's just so excited. I mean, I said, if you was that enthused about working as you are turkey hunting, man, you could build the world over. What is it that gets us so excited, that makes us feel like that? It's inside of us. We've just got to find it. It's there. I mean, some of you love this real estate so good. I mean, I've talked to some of you. I know it gets you so excited. I mean, you think about it all the time. When am I going to get the next short-term rental? What am I going to do for a long-term rental? Maybe I want to get this property. I want to get that. You talk with enthusiasm and excitement about that, but if I talk about if you're building barns or sheds and how'd it go? It's okay today, we got this done and we got that done. Well, how about that short term? Oh my goodness, I found this property, it's so exciting. You can just see the difference, right? You got to find what that is inside of you that stirs you up and gets you excited. And then once it gets started, fan the flame. You fan that flame and you fuel that and let it shoot you off to where you need to go. And for many years, I thought that what I was chasing success, okay? That's what I wanted. I mean, I grew up, middle class or so, or maybe didn't have everything, had more than I needed and more than I deserved, but I always saw the people who had more and I wanted more. And I was working so hard building this stuff that I wanted the house, I wanted the cars, I wanted all these toys and all these things that I thought was living the dream, right? All the things that I thought was, this is picture of success, right? This is it. And I don't want to say this in a boastful way, but I got there, okay? I attained that. And you know what I did? I sit there going, phew, why don't I feel good? Everything I thought I wanted, I got, and I still feel so empty. I don't feel enthused and excited like it was when I was chasing it. So it must have not been really what I was supposed to really wanted and had. And I want to tell you what happened to me. I found what my true passion was. And I found it probably by accident. Because I'd found all the things that success, the business was doing good, family was doing great, all the things that should have been making me saying, everybody was saying, man, you got it made. And I'm wandering around empty. Didn't understand. And if you told people it was empty, they was mad at you saying, oh my goodness, if I had what you had, I'd never be empty and I'd do this. But it wasn't my passion. It wasn't my fulfillment. And all of a sudden, some young person came up to me that was starting business and they asked me a question. And the same thing I told you about my son, about golf, the same thing I told you about my buddy, about turkey hunting. Something inside of me welled up inside of me, and I started just pouring into them and sharing my experience. Oh man, this happened to me, and I've done this, and I've done this. And all of a sudden, they started sucking it in. They was like a sponge. I mean, they was pulling it out of me faster than I could pour it. And they were doing that. That filled me up with joy and excitement. And all of a sudden, I found out what my true passion, my true calling was. I had to achieve what I did, but it wasn't just for me. It was so I could fulfill my purpose of helping other people do the same thing. That I could pour into them, because that's when fulfillment came. I was on the cover of this magazine a couple times, and that's the same thing as getting that and the $1.38 now will get you a large unsweet tea at McDonald's. But two guys that I mentored, they told me one of their goals was to be on the cover of this magazine. Was it this year? I think it was February of this year. Those two guys were on the cover of that magazine. And I helped them get there. When they sent me the copy of it, I was in Florida. I was at another mastermind. I was at a mastermind thing. I thought it was at Michael's thing, but I was at a mastermind group down there. And when they sent me the cover of the magazine, You probably heard me yell in Kentucky. I got so excited to see them on the cover of that magazine. I really felt more excitement about seeing them there than when I was on it. And that's when it said, that's my purpose and my calling, is to help other people achieve their dreams. But the only way that I could do that was to be more myself, so I could do more, so I could have more, so then I had the ability to do it. That's that alignment process. What is it that drives you? What is it that gets you excited? Take a moment right now and think about this. If you're taking notes or you're doing something, write down what it is that really excites you. You got to search inside of yourself, because we get these false things, these mirages sometimes that pop up that we think is what excites us, and then when we get them, we find out it was just a mirage. It was just something that popped up and it was fake. What is it that truly excites you? The next thing that we have to do is charting our course. This means setting clear and actionable goals and creating a roadmap to achieve them. So, when we think about these things, what is it, if this is what I want, what steps do I need to take to get this? If you enjoy real estate and you want to learn more real estate, you know what you're doing right now? You're charting your course. Because you're coming to a real estate meeting, you're surrounding yourself by people who love real estate, are experienced at real estate, or getting experienced at real estate. So you're starting to chart your course. That's what, if you just have a dream and sit back and just wait for it to happen, guess what? It's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. You're going to have to put some action to it, but you got to come up with that plan. So once you get your heart right and you align with your passions, with your calling, with your purpose, then your mind can clearly start charting the course. What do I need? What books do I need to read? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to know? What do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop doing? All of a sudden now, once you know where it is you want to go and what you want to do, then you can start charting your course to get there. Because now you know where you're at and you know where you want to be, so now all you have to do is figure out what's going to get me there. That's pretty simple. Who do I need to know? What do I need to read? Who can help me? Who can teach me? Start charting your course. So if I were to ask you, what's one specific goal that you can set today? I want you to take some takeaways from this that are actionable. So I want you to really think about what it is that excites you, what it is that really excites you and gets you fueled and fired up, and what's one thing you can start today that'll start moving you closer to that. So I hope you're going to leave with three things at least here today. What it is that truly excites you. Now, you know what? I've thought things excited me, and you may go through a few things before you truly find it, but you got to keep trying it until you find where it's at. Then, what's one action that you can do? One action that you can do. As I said, my goal when I built the first store, I want to tell you what my goal was. I didn't have the first store open. You know what my goal was? 10. He said 2. Yeah, 2. What did he say? 10 times is better than 2. There's a good book about that. Yeah, 10 times is easier than 2, I think it is. I didn't even have the first store open, and I was already saying, I'm going to have 10. That was stupid. That was crazy. And everybody was saying, Kevin, you ain't even got the first one done, and you're talking about 10. That's what you got to do. You got to dream big, and you got to think about it. But you know what I did? Is, okay, if I'm going to have 10, what do I have to do? I'm going to have to learn everything about this. I'm going to have to find out what best locations are. Who do I know that's good at real estate? Who do I know that can help me do this? I need to start driving around these communities in my spare time, because I had to spread them out because we're in small towns, so I had to start spending my spare time driving around these communities to find out if they had a place. If they didn't have a place, is there somewhere that I could put one? So I started charting that course. I started saying, okay, if I'm going to have 10, only way it's going to happen is if I start coming up with a plan. And the next thing you know, I had a little map. And I had these things dotted. I had these things dotted here, here, and here. And what I tell you, in 3 years, we had 12. Now, would that have happened had I not charted the course? No way. Not possible. It started with the alignment. It starts now next with the charting. The last thing you have to do is navigate your path. Now, this involves staying motivated. overcoming the obstacles and continuously adjusting your course as needed. So one of the things I want you to think about here, the third thing that I want you to think about is what is something that you've overcome in the past? And I want you to think about that. Because that's what you need to think about when you hit the wall, when you start getting tired and burnt out, when you start getting demotivated. Somebody that's really close to me is going through a terrible time right now. And they call me some days and they're just so beat up and so down. And this is what I say. I said, guess what? You've survived 100% of your worst days so far. What? I said, yeah. You've survived 100% of your... Look what a records you've got. Hey, you got this. It's just another day. You've already survived 100% of them. What do you got to worry about? You look back and see what you've overcome, and that gives you the strength and the momentum. Zig Ziglar taught this, and I use this, is to create a victory list. And this is not a victory list, a boast list, or brag about things to people, but keep you a little list that you got a little book. Maybe you got your little Farm Bureau book like my dad had. And when you have a victory, you have something, write that down. Write that down. You don't have to tell anybody about it. It's not for somebody else. But then when you get beat up, when everything goes wrong and the deal that you thought was going to happen falls apart, and the deal that does happen, you find out there's a whole lot more to it that you weren't prepared for, and now all of a sudden you're sucked into something you got to figure out, and you're just sitting there thinking, why am I here? You're going to pull that victory list up and say, oh, wow, I can't believe I done that. And I done this, and I done this, and I done this. And all of a sudden, you're fanning that flame. And you're getting that what you excites you, and you're taking back to your course that you'd already charted out, and it's going to pull you right back, and it's going to say, you've survived 100% of your worst days so far. You're going to make it. You got this. Start thinking about what are some of your challenges. I've done this presentation during COVID for a church group, a men's group up in, I think they were Boston or somewhere. A friend of mine called me and said, hey, I need to do a virtual group. I want to do this stuff. And I shared some things with them. And then I had a time of question and answer at the end of it. And they usually ask me some hard questions. So at the end of it, one of them asked me, said, so, Kevin, does everything you do just succeed? It sounds like everything you've done, you've just succeeded. And I said, oh, I didn't have time to tell you everything that I failed at. We only had a few minutes to talk. And then I started telling them about some of the failures. I started telling them about some of the businesses that didn't make it. Some of the deals that went really south really quick. I started telling that, and they said, really? There is no success without failures. It's the failures that make us successful. It's the failures. It's learning to overcome the obstacles and the challenges. The people that are never successful fail to overcome. But every one of us has overcomers in us. We have it in us. We just need somebody sometimes to push us. So I just told you that I sold my company in December of 22. What I didn't tell you is in 2020 when COVID hit, that I was 2 weeks away from bankruptcy. They said, we're going to flatten the curve. 2 weeks, we're going to flatten the curve. And I said, okay. And my controller said, so Kevin, we're not doing any business because nobody's driving because we're flattening the curve. And I said, well, these guys got to have their paychecks. I said, so just let them work and pay them the 40 hours and let them clean, let them do something. And we'll just make sure that they get the money they need to live. And we'll make it back later. And he said, let's just do this because in 2 weeks we can recover. And my payroll at that time was about $175,000 every 2 weeks. Big payroll. And so we'll recover. 2 weeks, didn't flatten the curve. 4 weeks, didn't flatten the curve. 6 weeks, didn't flatten the curve. I don't know the curve ever did flatten, right? My controller calls me. He says, Kevin. I said, what? He says, we got 2 weeks cash left. I don't think I'm going to have enough money for payroll next time. I said, what are we going to do? He said, I'll work for you. Yeah. I guess you do. So I guess the buck stopped with me, right? You know what I did? Are we still friends? Can I just be transparent with you? Can I just get real with you? I'll tell you what I did. I cried. I spent a lot of time praying. I spent a lot of time not away from my wife, sitting in my truck just thinking, what am I going to do? I got 100 and some people that depend on me. I've got all these banks that I owe money. I've got all these vendors that I owe money. And I don't have a way out. I'm not going to make it. I was just like the guy that was 2 feet away. I called a mentor of mine that I'd actually done speaking and training for him. He was up in New York, and I called him up, and this is I know exactly where I was sitting. I was sitting in my truck up by my pond looking at my place, just thinking, I'm going to lose it all. And I called him up, and I said, Mike, I need some help. He said, what do you need, man? I said, I need you to tell me some kind of bankruptcy that I can file, that I can at least save my house. I think if I can save my house, I can start over again. I don't know if I can recover if I lose my house. I don't know how I can recover. I don't know if my family's out and I don't do this stuff. I really don't. And I want to tell you what he said to me. And it was the best thing that anybody ever said to me. He was kind of tough on me. He said, Kevin, I don't want to hear that B word come out of your mouth again. You never got to where you're at using words like that, and you're not getting out of this using like that. And if that's the kind of words you want to use, don't call me anymore. You know what I did? I wiped the tears from my eyes, and I said, thank you. I went to my office. I called my controller, and I said, what are we going to do? He said, I'll work for you. And I said, okay, let's get to work. Let's figure it out. We laid off about 40 people that I didn't want to do, 35 maybe. We laid off about 35 people. We closed some stores. We went to working only 5 days a week, 6 hours a day, and we got down to the bare minimum. We called all of our lenders and told them I can't pay you. I'm not going to make the payment. Don't have it. Can I pay interest only? Well, Kevin, we don't know. I said, do you want to run these? Because if you don't help me be successful, you're going to end up with them. And I don't think you want to run them. I think your best shot's with me. And they said, yeah, I think it is. And I said, can I pay interest only? Yep, pay interest only. I called my landlords that I was renting from. I said, I can't pay you rent. Can you give me like 90 days or something to kind of see if I can dig out of this thing? Kevin, you've always been great. You've always paid us on time. Yeah, you can have 90 days. I called my suppliers and said, hey, I got to have product, but I can't pay you. Can you give me like 90 days? You know, I usually pay in 30, but can you give me like 90 days? Kevin, we can't do that. And I said, if you don't do it, I'm not going to make it. Can you do it? We'll give you 90 days, but that's it. We started digging, done a lot of praying, done a lot of digging, had made a lot of hard decisions. And then after we done all that stuff, the payroll protection stuff came out and came through. We was able to bring everybody back. We was able to get everything back up going. We was able to pay everybody that we owed before the 90 days. We was able to do all that. So 2 weeks from bankruptcy. 2 weeks now, I will tell you what would happen. You know what? If he would have told me, he said, Kevin, if you file XYZ number or something, you know what I would have done? I would have signed that as soon as they put it in front of me. I would have. I was scared. I was scared. I was hopeless. I was helpless. I was scared. And I would have signed it. If he'd have said, you file this and you could do it, I would have done it. What would have happened if I would have done it? Would I be here speaking to you today if that would have happened? Most likely not. And within 2 years, our business built back to being stronger and bigger than it ever was. And a company much larger came in and said, we want you. That's about navigating. That's what happens when you navigate. When you navigate, you learn to overcome the obstacles. You learn to face those challenges as opportunities, and you learn from them. I'm not going to tell you the other story, but 2008 and 2009, a very similar thing happened. Same thing happened. Same thing happened. Crisis, all that kind of stuff, and we were basically the same spot and dug out. 2 times in my 30 years, I was weeks away from losing everything. That's the navigating side of the dream catcher is. If you don't learn to navigate, you can align all you want to align, you can chart all you want to chart, but unless you're taking action and moving forward, it's not going to happen. You've got to learn to stay motivated. You've got to learn to overcome obstacles, and you have to learn to adjust your course. As dream catchers, On this journey to becoming a dream catcher, you're going to find yourself in one of many dreamer phases. And if you don't know how to identify them and work through them, you're going to become stuck. And feeling stuck becomes one of the biggest dream killers that you will ever have. So let me ask you a question. If you want to be honest with me, since we're friends, how many of you all have ever felt stuck? You ever felt stuck? Yeah, I'm pretty much the whole room there. And the ones that want to raise their hand but didn't, you're telling me you want to. Because we all feel stuck. But what I want to tell you is you can get unstuck. Stuck's not permanent. Stuck is temporary. Stuck, you're just stuck until you figure out how to get unstuck. You know what? We four-wheel drive and we ride ATVs, and sometimes, man, I've buried my tractor up to the floorboard before. I stuck. I buried my excavator up to where you couldn't spin. It was up to the bottom. I stuck. I didn't say, well, shoot, I guess I lost my tractor. I guess I lost my excavator. Let's let it sit there. What did we do? We dug it out. We got unstuck. What happened when we got unstuck? We had mud in every crack and crevice we had. We had it running out our ears. We had it everything. It was hard. It was dirty. It was nasty. But guess what? My excavator's still there. My tractor's still there. And they're not stuck anymore. The same thing happens in this thing. When you get stuck, it's not over. Getting stuck is just the opportunity for you to get stronger, for you to get better, for you to become the dream catcher that aligns your dreams, charts your course, and navigates this. So I want to share, I'm not going to go through all this with you. I do want to quickly share this with you, and then I want to make this available to you if you'd like it. I've discovered that there are 8 different types of dreamers. And what I've discovered here, this has become, through my journey, I've found myself in every one of these phases, sometimes multiple at one time. Active, aspiring, revived, burned out, daydreamers, skeptical dreamers, delusion dreamers, and fearful dreamers. Now, I've got a whole bunch of slides on this, but I'm not going to go through this with you because what I'm going to do is, since we're friends and since Jake has invited me to come here, what I'm going to do, I've developed a little assessment. And this assessment can kind of help you identify what type dreamer you are. And there's, I think there's like 60 questions or something on it. Maybe 20. There's not a ton of questions, but they're just rate yourself on these questions. And I want to make that available to you for no charge. Because I believe each one of you have the potential to do more than you even dream you can do. By understanding where you're at currently. So when you take this assessment, what this assessment does is it'll let you score you and see how you score in each one of these 8. And then what happens is the next few pages of this tells you if you're an active dreamer, here's where you're really doing great at. This is your strengths. Here's probably where your challenges are. This is what you need to be. These are the landmines that are going to take you down if you don't know what they are and aware of them. And here's a few action steps that's going to help you take from this to becoming a dream catcher. And that's all in that assessment that I'm going to make available to you all for no charge since you're here tonight. For everybody that's here tonight is going to have that opportunity to do that. Because once you're doing that, I truly believe that you can make your dreams reality. I mean, some of you are already living your dreams. Some of you are already doing it. I mean, you're already doing it. But guess what? That just means that you got to prepare for the next bigger dream. Because there's no place to stop. It's kind of a cycle that once you live this dream, what's my next dream? What's my next dream? What's a bigger dream? What's a better dream? Who else can I take with me? Because every time you go through the journey, what happens is you get some more people with you. You help them live their dream. Then you do it again. You got more people, more people, more people. How many of y'all want to be a dream catcher? You want to be some dream catchers in here? That's exact. This is a room full of dream catchers, no doubt in my mind. Each one of you had the potential to do this and awaken the dreamer. It's never too late, never too early. You have the power. What you have to do is you have to give yourself permission to dream. Sometimes you have to give yourself permission. Sometimes we feel guilty about dreaming. Sometimes we feel guilty about dreaming. Well, should I really be dreaming this? And should I really be doing this? Give yourself permission to dream. No matter how old you are, no matter what stage you're in, every great achievement is going to begin with the courage to dream. And it takes courage to do that. Remember, you're created with a purpose. You're engineered for success, and you're endowed with the seeds of greatness. You can live your dream. The dream catcher principles can move you from wherever you are towards becoming the dream catcher. I've done it. You can too. Each one of you had the potential to not only do this, but you also had the potential to develop other dream catchers and those around you. You have the power within you to reignite your dreams, to turn them into reality. So embrace the journey with confidence, knowing that every step you take brings you closer to living your dream. Are we still friends? You know what friends do? Friends encourage each other. And that's what I'm here tonight to do. I'm here to encourage you. I want to encourage you to be all that you can be. I want to spark something inside of you that I want to hear some great stories. I want to hear some people that leave here that find that excitement, find that enthusiasm. I want to find some people that find other people to help and do this. And I want to start hearing some stories of people that are catching that dream, aligning their dreams, charting their course, and navigating that. Joe Saba said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. You have to start to be great. Today I want to challenge you to take the first step. I want you to reflect on some things you've learned this evening. I want you to take that assessment, identify some dreamer types, start implementing the action steps. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment's never coming. So many times people tell me, well, when this happens, I want to do this, or when the kids are bigger, or when this happens, or when that happens, I'm going to do it. Yesterday's a memory. Tomorrow's a possibility. Today is the day to align your dreams, chart your course, and navigate yourself to the purpose-filled life that you were created to live. Something else I want to offer you, and some of you already have these because some of you have heard me speak in Gap. I carry this in my pocket all the time. It's a poker chip. And people, I love it when people say, but you're a preacher and you encourage people to gamble? I said, I do. Oh my goodness! But I want to tell you what this is. This is a reminder that you've got to bet on yourself. If you don't bet on yourself, nobody else is going to bet on you. If you don't believe enough in yourself to bet on yourself, who else is going to take a chance on you? Are you going to bet on somebody who thinks they're not going to make it? Are you going to bet on somebody that thinks they're not going to do it? You have to bet on yourself. And so these are on the back table. Anybody that wants one of those, they're free of charge. You can have one of these. This is always in my pocket. Occasionally, I run into somebody who needs it worse than I do, and I'll give it to somebody, and I'll put another one in my pocket till I run into somebody else. I'll find sometimes when I'm out, I've been at airports before, I've been getting my shoes shined before, and somebody says something that just kind of told me they need to be betting on themselves, and I tell them a little story, and I say, here. And I tell them why they need to do this. And I want to offer this to you all because I want you to bet on yourself. But secondly, because we're friends, there's times that I get so discouraged and down, I stick my hand in my pocket and I feel that and I say, Kevin, you got to bet on yourself. You got to bet on yourself. There's sometimes I don't have enough in me to bet on myself. I'm so beat up and so whipped sometimes and so discouraged. But you know what? I got some good friends that I know is betting on me. I want to tell you something else. If you can't bet on yourself, I want you to know Kevin Davis is betting on you. I'm betting on you. If you believe in yourself or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't take your time out to come to things like this. You're already betting on yourself. So when you doubt it, remember to bet on yourself, but also remember this. Another little thing that I got from Zig, I put on the bottom of this, my life quote's on there. You got to have a magnifying glass to read it, or I do anyhow, but I can hold it. Maybe if he would hold it over there, I could see it. I also got "to it" on it. To IT. And so got this from Zig many years ago. Because a lot of times people tell me, they say, I said, did you get that done? Kevin, I'm going to do it when I get around to it. Guess what? Every one of you is going to have a round to it. So now you just got to go do it. Yep. So no more round to it excuses, because every one of you that wants one of these will have a round to it, and you're just going to go do it. So you're welcome to come get one of those. I was telling you about the assessment. The assessment's available. The only thing I'd ask you to do for that is if you scan that QR code. If you don't have capabilities of scanning this QR code, there's also a little web link on here that I think Jake's going to make available to you. And it's going to be a little brief survey that you're going to go through and click really quick and say, what you thought about the presentation. Because if we're friends, Friends help friends get better. I need to learn feedback from you all how I can make this better and more impactful and engaging and inspiring to people. So take you 15, 20 seconds to go through and click these, and as soon as you do that, you'll get a PDF of that discovery assessment that you can print out. I do have probably maybe a half a dozen or so printed in my bag here, maybe, that if somebody doesn't have capabilities to do that, let me know and I'll get you one. But also you go to that web link and get it. And if you don't have any of those capabilities, I got cards back there. Shoot me an email and say, Kevin, I was at the event at the real estate meetup. I'd like to have a copy of that. Shoot me an email and I'll email you a copy of it. I want to make sure that you have this tool and resource that's available to you. So what do you think? Are we some dream catchers in here? Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to share with you. I do have some Quick Lube Expert books in the back. The Quick Lube Expert book is basically the book that I wrote about how I built my business. So it's pretty much, it's a Quick Lube book, so it talks more about the Quick Lube, but you'll find there's a lot of solid business principles in there. There's a lot of things about operations in there. There's things about standard operating procedures. There's a lot of good content in there that I think that you still find beneficial. Those are on Amazon for like $25, but we're doing them here for, I had maybe 36 books that we had with us I brought, so we're doing those for $20 back there. If you'd like to have a book, you're welcome to get one. Anybody wants me to sign it, once again, that and the $1.38 to get you a large sweet tea at McDonald's 9S, but I'd be glad to sign it. So thank you all again. We still friends? All right, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Kevin. Wow, was that good or what? I was honestly a little bit disappointed that we didn't have a bigger room full of people, but I think that would have been worth it if there would have been 5 of us here, Kevin. That was amazing. That was really good. I'll be going back to watch that replay. Like Kevin said, there's some books in the back, primarily a business book. You don't have to be in the oil change business to get some value out of the book. The assessment, you're going to leave that on the screen for a bit here. I wasn't able to grab it from over there, so I definitely want to get that. Do the quick survey, give him some feedback, and that's the least we can do for him. Kevin generally gets paid a pretty good amount for a presentation like this, but he was willing to come out at no cost to us to speak to us, so we can support him by buying some books and things like that. And the little poker chips, I really love that idea. I don't know if you guys all caught that or not, but on the bottom of that chip, there's a little, it's a number 2 and the word IT to it. So, and the chip is round, so when you have one of those, you have a round to it, right? I read that in one of Zig's books probably 10 years ago, and for years I would carry this little cardboard. I mean, I just cut a piece of like a box or something, and I wrote to it on there, and it was quite a few times. We're sitting around, group of friends, whatever. Somebody would say something about they'll do this when they get around to it, and I would pull out my wallet, pull out this little round piece of cardboard, and it's just a fun discussion. So you'll have some fun with that. Okay, I think that's it. Kevin, thank you again very much. We're going to wrap up for the evening, but thanks for coming out, and we'll see you back here the first Wednesday evening in November.